Cornish Stadium, now out in his Formula 2 here at Bristol. So Neil Truran leads off alongside Ian Turner. Truran hits the front. Second is Ian Turner in 90. Third place is 585, and that is the car of Bill Morris from Kingham in Oxfordshire. Just behind him, Duncan McConnell in 633. Then we have 777, Doug Forbes. There is your race leader, though, Neil Truran, 795. Cornishman leads. Second place is Ian Turner. There's the pack of yellows, 777, Forbes. Followed by McConnell. Forbes clouding the outer fencing and losing a place there. Then you see the reds coming through. In there are Norman Butcher, Gary Sansom, Dave Bunt. Roy Goodman, another absentee from this heat, might be turning up in the second race. There's the second place man. The fight for third already showing us that blue top in 561, Nick Lawrence. The other blues out there, Simon Chalkley in 69, and number 900, Bryn Thomas. There's 69, Simon Chalkley. And there is the race leader. 16 laps of this track. Neil Truran out in front. A healthy lead over the second place car, number 90, Ian Turner. So far, the two whites yet to be caught. 795 showing yellow, but effectively going off the white ranks. There's 651, Gary Sansom. Up from the blues during the course of the season, now more than adequately holding down the red. And there you see Truran just with a dirty white panel bolted on top of the yellow supports. So Truran out in front. The colour may be a little dirty, but certainly the car is staying clean out in front of the race. There is 930 Jeff Bunn up from white top now. He's from Leamington Spa. Up into the yellows, just holding out the challenge of 69, Simon Chalkley from Hitchin. So long distance traveller down from Hertfordshire down to Bristol, Chalkley in 69. Out in front, another man with a fair distance to come up from St Austell, Neil Truran. There you see Chalkley just getting the better of Jeff Bunn. And there is Truran, not too far behind some of those better drivers. And Truran in command here. Trying to remember which formula he stars in down at all. Something it might be the auto rods they have down there, possibly the Hots. That's 585 has just pulled off, and that was the car of Bill Morris from Kingham. But Truran holding down a very stylish line, accelerating down into the bottom turn. And coming up the climb now of the home straight past the start, a halfway stage of the race. 8 laps completed, 8 to go, and Truran virtually unchallenged at the moment. Now the real situation comes though as he starts picking off the tail-ending yellow cars. So Truran is first. Second place is Nick Lawrence in 561. There's Chalkley trying to make up the distance, but he's still a good way behind. Nick Lawrence is second in 561. There's Truran just trying to get through the two back-marking yellow tops. And indeed, as he's struggling to get through all the time, Nick Lawrence in 561 is closing the gap. There he is, the second place man from Wantage in Oxfordshire, Nick Lawrence. And there's Bunn being edged out of the way now by Truran. He really must get these two cars between him and Lawrence. Otherwise, that 561 is going to come through. Third place is 651, Gary Sansom. Then Mike James in fourth. Fifth is Dave Bunt, the former world champion in 595, just getting a rear-end shunt from Norman Butcher on the turn. There you see those reds coming through. 651 Sansom leading that pack. There is Bunt now, and Norman Butcher just in front of him. Dave Bunt now back as a red top after losing his world championship up at Newton Grange earlier in the year. Nick Lawrence closing the gap now on Neil Truran down to 1 car length. There you see it, Truran on the left, Lawrence on the right. White versus blue. Well, Nick Lawrence really has gone well this year. Looks like the kind of driver that's going to be coming through into red on the next set of gradings, which I believe would not be through until 85 now for the start of the new season. Lawrence versus Truran going into that bottom turn. There you can see the difference in height between one turn and the other, looking down the straight. And it really is down. Truran first. Second is Lawrence. Third is Gary Sansom, the leading red top. There is Mike James. Indeed, he's now slipped through in front of Gary Sansom to have third place. And now Lawrence using the bumper to good effect on Truran. Truran trying to cut back across. Lawrence just getting edged up onto the curb. He's got the gap on the inside. Truran's got the speed, though. All-important turn coming up. There's Mike James working his way through. And he's through on Lawrence as well. So while Lawrence was looking for Truran, Mike James seizing his opportunity, if you like, Cornishman avenging Cornishman. Mike James also from St Austell. So a bit of team racing there for a moment. Almost Mike James seizing the opportunity. So as soon as Truran was dispossessed, there you see him getting edged out of the way now by Gary Sansom. As soon as Truran was pushed out of first place, there was Mike James coming in. So Nick Lawrence's lead very short-lived. Truran still holding off the challenge of Gary Sansom. The checkered flag being ready though, and it's a win in 6.17 for Mike James. A good win, a good tactical race from the superstar driver. Mike James showing all his experience there, waiting for Lawrence and Truran to get caught up. Lawrence just getting past Truran, and then before he'd really had the chance to get used to the fact of being first place, there was Mike James straight through to restore a Cornish lead. So Mike James first in 6.17. Second was number 561, Nick Lawrence. It looks like Neil Truran may well have held on to that third place in front of Gary Sansom in fourth. All depends on whether anyone else just nipped through on the inside. It looked like, though, it was the third place for Neil Truran. A good race by him, repassing Gary Sansom after he was pushed out of the way. But the glory in the race going to his fellow Cornishman, Mike James, in 6.17s. And in this race, of course, you would have seen him there with the gold top, Malcolm Locke, the world champion now. Winner up at Newton Grange, taking away Dave Bunt's title. Start to finish, a lovely race by Malcolm to win the title. Leading off, though, Graham March in a very upright car there, very high cab. There's Chalky White, the exact opposite, very, very low slung roof, working his way through already. Just in front, George Beckham. There's Malcolm Locke getting pushed out of the way by White. He was being pressurized by Chalky all the way through in that Newton Grange final. There are problems for Rex Bradford, 6.20, slowing down as they go into the pit turn. Kevin Stack working his way through behind Chalky White. White was second behind Locke, as I said, at Newton Grange before pulling out of the race due to steering problems. Now Kevin Stack coming through on the inside of White. Kevin Stack indeed finished second in that Newton Grange meeting. There is that 6.20 car of Rex Bradford, losing a lot of fluid out of the back there. So Baldy Bradford doesn't look like he's going to have too much say in the race from now on. Still fighting to keep the car going, but in desperate trouble. The wheels slewing all over the place at the back. In the meantime, out in front is 8.17 Graham Marchant, and Bradford still having those problems. There's Marchant going through. Second place, Andy Jilks in 5.12. Then we have 6.40 Graham Jude. Then 6.82, and that's the car of Roger Powell from Patchway in Bristol. Then Peter Rice, 8.90, the top blue. Then 6.42, Dave Luscombe. 6.21 now, George Beckham using the bumper to go into the turn there. Graham Jude in trouble. Oh, and he's collected Peter Rice. George Beckham having to head for the infield, just fighting to get back on. Alan Eastman in trouble as well. Beckham has ended up in the safety fence. Well, all kinds of problems there as that car hit the inside. Just trying to check up. Yes, 6.21. Beckham has got his problems there, George Beckham. From Western Supermare, runs the Britannia Inn down in Western. And there are severe problems there. Beckham, he won't be too happy about that. The yellow's out. Well, that collected something like 6 cars. Malcolm Locke is out of the race. The 698 car's been abandoned on the infield. Rex Bradford's out. The car was slowing all the way. There's 6.42 still in the race. That car of Dave Luscombe. There's Kevin Stack. He's still out there. So waiting for that to be sorted out. That certainly was a problem there, because it looks like we've got 1, 2, 3, 4... about 5 or 6 cars out as a result of that crash. Ray Harwood's out of it in 5.34. 6.21 still across the track. We've got the blue top of Peter Rice minus an aerofoil at the moment. The halfway stage now showing us indeed the race back underway. There's Chalky White. Well, the race leader at the time must have been Graham Marchant. Not getting any confirmation from the starter at the moment. There's Luscombe in 6.42. He's still got his blue number, harkening back to the days when he was a blue top. Not so long ago, showing up well now, though. Graham Marchant down in front, 8.17. Dave Luscombe second, by my reckoning, in 6.42. Yet to be confirmed. Yaram is just in front of Marchant. There is Luscombe in 6.42. Kevin Stack in 6.28 is also there. There you see the problems as they come into the straight. Case of 3 abreast coming out of that one a few laps ago, really causing all the problems. And indeed, at the moment, we only have 6 cars left racing. Indeed, you can call that 7. A baker's half dozen almost. So 5 laps left. There's Graham Marchant. 817. There's Dave Luscombe, 642. So there's Dave Luscombe going through. The race leader, 642. Second, 817, Graham March. And third is Kevin Stack in 628. Fourth, Jeff Yarham in 949. Then comes 688, Alan Eastman. He was in trouble on that home straight after that crash. Into the closing laps now. And certainly the spectacle robbing a lot of the race out of this heat, because the field of cars greatly reduced here in this second heat, and indeed the field of cars reduced somewhat over the day. Dave Luscombe, or rather John Dorr, not putting in an appearance here in the Heat 2 of the stock cars. Mike James having to transfer into Heat 1 to make up for the lack of superstars there. So one or two notable absentees here at Bristol this afternoon, detracting a little from the racing. But on the other hand, we've had some spectacular action, although that crash really taking up most of the excitement in this heat, because now the cars are all pretty well strung out. And I'm sure George Beckham will be ruining that crash. There's the car left in the fence. There's Kevin Stack coming through in 628. But it's going to be a win, and a good win at that, for Dave Luscombe in 642. Just coming up the home straight for the last time, gets the checkered flag, 642, Dave Luscombe. Now waiting for the second place car to come through, Kevin Stack in second. Third place, Graham March, and pick up some useful points. They're 817. Then we had 512, Andy Jilks. 688, Alan Eastman. And 514, Chalky White. Wait for confirmation on those results. With Jeff Yarham in 7th, possibly wait for confirmation, as I say, on those. But it looks like Marchant in 817's got a useful placing. Kevin Stack in 2nd. First place, though, 642, Dave Luscombe. Some useful points for him. The red flag now going out. George Beckham suddenly rushing up to the starter as if he was going to take the red flag off him. Still, Dave Luscombe comes around. Based at Newton Abbott, getting some useful points there. Out of the top 10 here at Bristol, but then Malcolm Locke out of the race. And indeed, the race losing a lot when Locke and Beckham had to pull out after that incident. Beckham's got a lot of work to do on that car if he's going to come out for the remainder of the racing. So the winner of Heat 2 of the stock cars, 642, Dave Luscombe, certainly had a spectacular race there. But really, once that crash had happened, a lot of the gloss had gone off the race. The white top leading them away. Ian Turner, the green flag drops. Ian Turner leads off in car 90. Second is 777. And that's the car driven by Doug Forbes. So he's second. Third place is 534, Ray Harbert. And then behind him is 585, Bill Kingham. Then 682, and that is the car being driven by Roger Powell. In the meantime, the first of the blues to show is Peter Rice in 890. Work his way up there. You see Rice past one of the yellows now, chasing Jeff Bunn. Simon Chalkley just behind him in car 69, and George Beckham and Malcolm Locke at the rear of the field. So out in front, Ian Turner. Ian Turner leads. Second, 777, Doug Forbes. And Forbes just edging his way through on the inside of Turner, forced onto the infield and then knocking Turner out wide as he came back onto the main body of the track. So Doug Forbes leads in 777. And Ian Turner going out wide, letting him through now the car into second place, 534, Ray Harbert. And that looks like problems for Simon Chalkley. Yes, Simon Chalkley on the left and Jeff Bunn on the right. I hesitated for a moment because that looked a little like the George Beckham car at first. He's had some bad luck when the ScreenSport cameras have been here at Bristol, but not so in that one. It's Simon Chalkley and Jeff Bunn getting each other into trouble there. So it looks like their chance of qualifying is gone. There's 777, Doug Forbes, race leader. Peter Rice and Malcolm Locke meeting wheel to wheel there. Locke working his way through now. Ian Turner, in the meantime, has pulled off the track, the white top car, number 90. There is George Beckham, still fitting well. He's got the car back in action after that nasty shunt in his first race. And there you see now Malcolm Locke working his way through on the inside of 585. Bill Morris from Kingham. So there's Malcolm Locke, world champion. A title achieved up at Newton Grange not so long ago. And there a bit of broadsiding with the back wheels spinning out for Forbes. Doug Forbes first, Ray Harbert second. Third is car number 554, Dave Buckley. Fourth place man at the moment is George Beckham now. Fifth place is 682. That's the car driven by Roger Powell. And then comes 698 Malcolm Locke, 890 Peter Rice, and 585 Bill Morris. So that's your race order here in the Consolation. Doug Forbes in command, and now Beckham settled for qualification. He's in third place. Malcolm Locke in sixth place. He's also safe, so it's looking a little on the easy side now for these Formula 2 top men to get through. Looking though for race wins. Points still important. Every point's important to a stock car driver. George Beckham closing in now, looking for that second place, trying to use the bumper on the present second place man, the 554 of Dave Buckley. Indeed, 534, correction there. It's Ray Harbert from Aynsham in Oxfordshire, and he's left now by Beckham. And now here comes the 554, Dave Buckley, and on him, to see it in the background, two yellows clashing on the turn. Doug Forbes out in front. How long can he hold out now? The challenge of George Beckham, the publican from Western-super-Mare, sponsors a race every year here at Bristol, and indeed that was our first Formula 2 race, the first Formula 2 final at least here on ScreenSport. So there we have it, 532 and 585 battling it out. Roy Dyke from Wincanton, and the man behind him, the yellow top, also battling equally, Bill Morris. There's Doug Forbes there now with the 3-lap marker being readied. There'll be some useful points for Forbes. He failed to qualify from the first heat. George Beckham failed to qualify from the second. He's catching up all the time on Forbes, but not too much distance left. There you see a fine shot of Beckham heading into the turn. He's got the gap on the inside. Looks all casual there, sitting in the cab. Eases into the turn. Sweeps across Doug Forbes, and Beckham's away into first place. So stylish driving by George Beckham, leading this Consolation race. Beckham first in 6:21. Last lap board coming out. Beckham leads to 6:21. Doug Forbes second in 7:77. Then Ray Harbert in 5:34. And fourth place, 6:98, Malcolm Locke. There you see Locke coming down the back straight for the final time. A comfortable qualifier in fourth place. And there, the winner crossing the finish line, 6:21. George Beckham, the winner of the Consolation race in the Formula 2 stock cars. Second place was 777, Doug Forbes. Third was 534, Ray Harbert. Then came 698, Malcolm Locke. And those are the only positions I'll commit myself to at this point. 4 positions, 621, George Beckham, 777, Doug Forbes. Third place, 534, Ray Harbert. And then 698, Malcolm Locke. And if I'm drawn on fifth place, it looked like it might have been that 554 car of Dave Buckley. So we'll wait confirmation. I'll bring confirmation of those Consolation places just before the Grand National Championship final for 1984 here at Bristol. During the year, well, those were all qualifiers for today's final. Unfortunately, all of the drivers from the North East, Scotland, and a lot from the East Midlands and Midlands not here today. So it's basically the West Country drivers racing for the Grand National Championship. But we've got several of the top 10 here. Kevin Stack, 628 leading them off. They're all in point scoring order from those Grand National qualifying races. Kevin Stack, the leader on 146. Then second was Jimmy Moody, car number 7, 113. He will not be here. 686, Gary Hooper, also not here. He's been having a few controversies over those Japanese Yokohama tyres and pulled out of the World Championship at the semi-final stage and hasn't been seen much of since. He's not here today. He qualified in third. The fourth place man, though, Trevor Whitney, has failed to arrive here today. We were expecting him. Fifth man's Chalky White, 514. He's up there with Kevin Stack at the front of the grid. Also there, Mike James, the sixth qualifier. Ninth qualifier, Les Palmer, not here. 10th qualifier, Malcolm Locke. So the race gets underway. All qualifying in score order. Chalky White leads. Malcolm Locke second. Third is Kevin Stack. Fourth, Mike James. Stack getting spun on the first turn. Along with Mike James, that's costing them a lot of points. There is Duncan McConnell in the fence, and a lot of drivers having to fight their way back into the race. And disaster there for Kevin Stack. He's lost something like 15 places. So the race leader, the world champion, Malcolm Locke out in front in 698. Second, George Beckham, 621. Third place, the 83 world champion, Dave Bunce in 595. Then behind him comes Chalky White, Brent Thomas, Gary Sansom in 6.51. Then we have Dave Luscombe 6.42. Chalky White getting edged out. Alan Eastman now taking Chalky White. And then behind them is Neil Truran. And a good way down the field, the reigning champion, 5.16, Norman Butcher. So there is the race. It's certainly a spectacular start. Now we've got more pile-up on the turn. Down on the pit turn, we have a pile-up involving 4 cars, including Mike James. Out of shot at the moment. We'll have that in just a moment, I'm sure. There it is. Mike James out of the race. 5.54 with him as well. Buckley, 6.82, is in trouble. 5.34, Ray Harvard. Roger Powell in 6.82, with the big news there. Mike James in his second crash of the race, and out this time in 6.17. So the race continues. World champion Malcolm Locke out in front in 6.98. There's Dave Bunt, last year's world champion, coming through. So it's the 84 champ against the 83 champion of the world in Formula 2 racing. Malcolm Locke against Dave Bunt. Dave Bunt with a lot to prove. The man in front of him is taking his gold roof from him. Malcolm Locke first, Dave Bunt second. Third is George Beckham, and Bunt now coming through on the inside in 5.95. And Bunt getting the clear space there. Locke trying to retaliate on the bumper. There's Bill Morris on the outside, the back marker, as Dave Bunt comes through in 5.95 from Saltash in Devon. Dave Bunt, 5.95, leading the Grand National Final here at Bristol. Bunt leads. Malcolm Locke is second in 6.98. Then comes George Beckham in 6.21. 6.51, Gary Sansom. Then 900, Bryn Thomas. And Chalky White, Dave Luscombe, Alan Eastman, and Norman Butcher, all way down the field. There is Beckham. And there is Gary Sansom, 6.51, really emerged this year from blue into the red top grade. But that race out in front, Dave Bunt against Malcolm Locke. And Bunt has now about 3 car lengths between himself and second Malcolm Locke. There you see it. The first 4 all going through there. Kevin Stack now about to be lapped by Dave Bunt, and Stack really paying the penalty of that pile-up on that first turn. There's Chalky White, and he's a good way down the field. Slowed down on the first couple of laps dramatically, so the men off pole position having their problems here in the Grand National Final. Dave Bunt, a clear leader at the moment, trying to make up for the disappointment of losing out on the world title this year. Second place, Malcolm Locke. Third is 6.21, Beckham. Fourth is 6.51, Gary Sansom. There is Kevin Stack. He's got a lot to make up now. Just been lapped by Dave Bunt. So Stack, who has almost certainly guaranteed himself the silver stripes this year as national points champion, just missed out on the world final behind Malcolm Locke. He's going to miss out the Grand National as well. Nick Lawrence is out of the race. He's parked on the infield in 5.61, or rather out of 5.61, now getting a grandstand view of the racing. So Kevin Stack out of it now. Sandwiched between the first and second place cars. 5.95, Dave Bunt in first. And second, Malcolm Locke in 6.98. Kevin Stack in there, but he is a lap behind. There's Gary Sansom now making inroads on the inside of George Beckham. The race for third place there in this 20-lap race. Only 5 laps remaining now for Dave Bunt to wrap up this title. And there a crash on the turn. Sansom has hit the fence right down by the starter, in fact. Sounded like the turn, but it was right in front of us on the home straight. Gary Sansom losing out of any chance of third place, indeed losing out of a chance of any kind of placing. And now Kevin Stack in trouble. This really has been a wreckers derby there. Neil Truran getting into trouble. Kevin Stack getting back into the race. Bill Morris also having his problems. Truran hitting the concrete on the inside. 3 laps left to go. Dave Bunt now has to keep himself out of trouble. Not too easy in this race. Several of the top men have found themselves in serious problems. Kevin Stack twice and Mike James twice. Stack still going, but now a lap and a half behind. Dave Bunt out in front. So Stack, the leader, on points coming into this final, but not getting any kind of advantage out of the race. Dave Bunt leads in 5.95, and we've certainly had plenty of action in this Grand National Final, one of the best races we've had here on ScreenSport all year. 5.95, Dave Bunt out in front. There he goes. Second place, Malcolm Locke just coming in front of us, 6.98. The 84 world champion. And the checkered flag now being readied for Dave Bunt. He's lost out on the World Championship, but he's got the Grand National. Dave Bunt The winner of the Grand National Final, second place Malcolm Locke, and third place George Beckham. Fourth place, it looks like it might have been Chalky White just sneaking through, making up the ground after losing power early on. So the top stars, some of them coming through for the top positions there, but Kevin Stack and Mike James both having their problems with the yellow top cars. The winner of the 1984 Grand National Championship final then is car number 595, Dave Bunce, the 1983 world champion, lost his title up at Newton Grange, the World Championship, but instead goes into the winter recess with the Grand National as a consolation. The Grand National Championship goes to Dave Bunce in car 595, only 21st place in the point scoring before today's race. Dave Bunce wins the final. Second place, 698 Malcolm Locke. Third place, 621 George Beckham, and my suspicion, yet to be confirmed, is that Chalky White had fourth. So Gary Sansom in with a desperately unlucky race, clouting the fence in front of the start-finish line as he was tussling with George Beckham. An excellent race here at Bristol for the Grand National Championship. Plenty of action and plenty of good racing. Excellent stuff from Bristol. The winner of the 1984 Grand National Championship final once more, car number 595, the 1983 world champion from Saltash and Devon, Dave Bunce. Here goes the race then. Now this one is being raced like a Grand National, which means Dave Bunce, the winner of the Grand National final, goes with a lap handicap in the afternoon final. Now this is being raced for the Alan Benson Trophy. Now Alan Benson was the pen name of the track manager's brother here at Bristol. The track manager here, of course, Graham Bunter, and his brother was a journalist and also mechanics of Graham when he was racing before his early death. And so it's being this trophy dedicated to Graham Bunter's brother under his pen name of Alan Benson. The Alan Benson Trophy then, 20 laps. Dave Bunce up a lap handicap just like in a Grand National, which means our race leader is Neil Truran, out in 795. Wait for confirmation. That I would presume. There's the Red Sox working their way through. Chalky White's out there. There's George Beckham, the reigning champion, of the holder of the Alan Benson Trophy. Just working his way through on the inside of Graham Jude. One or two revenges maybe to be worked out here after all those pileups in the Grand National Championship final. There goes Beckham. I don't think Kevin Stack's out there. No, indeed. Malcolm Locke is. There's 512. Andy Julks getting himself into trouble on the turn. And all the cars streaming past. There goes Dave Bunce. He's made up that lap handicap already. Neil Truran leads. Second is 900 now, Bryn Thomas. Third is 817, Graham Marchant. Behind him, Alan Eastman, 688. Then we have Ray Harbert, 534. 621, George Beckham just coming through. Then 514, Chalky White. 698, Malcolm Locke. And 585, Phil Morris, followed by 516, Norman Butcher. 642, Dave Luscombe. And 69, Simon Chalkley. That's the race order at the moment. There goes Bryn Thomas diving through on the inside of Neil Truran. Well, when we came up here to Bristol for the first time earlier in the year, Bryn Thomas was a raw white top, leading the races until losing his way on the turns. Now the positions are reversed. Inside the space of 1 year, Bryn, the son of Taffy Thomas, developing into a fine racer on that 900 car, getting through into blue top status, now leading this final race of the day for the Alan Benson Trophy, and indeed the last Formula 2 race of the season here at Bristol. Let's hope it's not the last one ever. Of course, it's going to be a long winter of fights keeping the stadium open for 85. It looks like the fight has been won, though. Graham Bunter in today's programme notes suggested that maybe the future is not quite so bleak as it seemed in the past. There's Malcolm Locke, 698. 84 world champion, second place in the Grand National Championship, working his way through the field now. There's George Beckham, followed by Chalky White. But Bryn Thomas now has the length of a straight lead over the second place man, George Beckham, 621. Third place, Chalky White, diving through on the inside. There goes Chalky White from Sidbury in Devon, through into second place. George Beckham from Western Supermare in third now. Alan Eastman's in fourth. There's that race for second and third. Bryn Thomas leaving them a long way behind. They're halfway through this 20-lap race now. Plenty of time for these two Red Sox to start closing the gap on Bryn Thomas. But Thomas holding down a fine racing line at the moment, just sliding through the back markers. There you see him in that 900 car, now about to lap Graham Marchant at 817. And so Thomas now has a safe, well, about 10 seconds at the moment, I think, lead over the second place car, 514 Chalky White. Third place is George Beckham. Malcolm Locker's fourth. Fifth now is Dave Bunt. Really making up the handicap now. Sixth place, Alan Eastman. Then we have Norman Butcher, 7.95 Neil Truer, and 5.34 Ray Harvard, 6.42 Dave Lascombe, 69 Simon Chalkley. And then we're right back once more to the race leader, Bryn Thomas. So Bryn Thomas from Buckfastleigh in Devon, now edging his way through on the inside of Chalkley. And now Chalky White is closing the gap now, just counting it down. 5 laps to go at the moment. It's about 7 or 8 seconds at the moment. Bryn Thomas leads. Chalky White, though, closing in all the time. Has Chalky got enough laps left? There's Bryn Thomas. You just saw White on the turn with the red top. There goes Bryn Thomas into the bend. Chalky White just going past the starter at that point. So now, Chalky White now closing the gap all the time. He's left George Beckham. So Beckham's not going to hold on to the trophy. Dave Bunt indeed through. Now into third place here at Bristol. Double points counting for George Beckham. Starting off that, rather for Dave Bunt. Starting off that lap handicap, treated as if it were a Grand National heat. Although indeed it is the afternoon final. So a reversal of normal trend here at Bristol. Of course, all the points going towards that National Points Championship, the points listings. The last lap now of Bryn Thomas in 900, and Chalky White's got him in his sights. But he's not got far enough to make it. He's not going to make it in time for the turn to use the bumper. George Beckham's back in third, but now the race for the flag. Coming out to the turn, Chalky White can't get there. First man home, 900, Bryn Thomas. He wins the Alan Benson Trophy. Bryn Thomas first, in car 900. Wins the final Formula 2, or at least official Formula 2 race of the season here at Bristol. Second place man, Chalky White in 5.14. Third place was Dave Bunt. Dave Bunt, to me, the third place man. Fourth place, George Beckham in 6.21. So a very profitable race for Dave Bunt, clocking up double points in third place. But the winner, in front of that 5.14 car of Chalky White, was car number 900, Bryn Thomas. So an excellent day's racing here at Bristol. And that brings to a close the Formula 2 season here at the Mendip Raceway. So we might be able to slip in some more. We're not certain at the moment, but it looks like this could be our final Formula 2 race meeting of the year. And we hope you've enjoyed our Formula 2 racing from around the country this season.